Namaskar and welcome to Hindu Infopedia. Today we explore how Hindu temple architecture is more than stone and devotion. It is a living blueprint for conservation, where every wall, grove, and tank preserves the balance between nature, human life, and cosmic order. When most people hear the word conservation, they think of modern acts like planting trees, banning plastic, or recycling. But in Hindu civilization, conservation wasn't a separate task. It was part of design itself, an architectural principle, a spiritual law, and a way of aligning the body, the land, and the cosmos. From sacred groves to temple tanks, from towering spires to open courtyards, every element of Hindu temple architecture reflected this unity. Conservation here meant not just protection, but alignment of human life with the rhythms of the universe. One profound example is the Vriksha Purusha Mandala. Building on the classical Vastu Purusha grid, later traditions integrated trees into temple design. This union of tree, human, and cosmic geometry created what some texts call a forest temple. Sacred trees like peepal, neem, bilva, and tulsi were not chosen randomly. They were placed in specific zones of energy. Why? Not just for shade, not just for offerings, but for balance. Healing prana, harmonizing land, and becoming living nodes in a divine circuit. This was agroecology blended with cosmology thousands of years ago. The Atharva Veda reminds us, Earth is mother, I am her child. Varahamihira's Brihat Samhita prescribes trees and water bodies for temple sites. Even the Manusmriti included injunctions against unnecessary tree felling. Conservation was written not just in stone but in law and ritual. The Agamas, sacred texts guiding temple construction, went further. They treated a temple not just as a building but as a living body. Surrounding every temple were ecological zones. Pushkarini tanks for water harvesting, Nandavanam gardens sustained by natural cycles, Goshalas for cows, completing nourishment and recycling, Devvana, sacred groves preserving biodiversity. Together, these made every temple a conservation zone, preserving water, soil, seed, and life. Not through external enforcement, but through rhythm, through laya. Conservation in temples wasn't limited to forests and water. It extended to energy, design, and even consciousness. Temples were built with breathtaking precision. Sanctums facing east to welcome the morning sun. Thick stone walls and floors that cooled without artificial systems. Open courtyards for natural ventilation. Pillared halls that echoed sound, reducing the need for amplification. And shikharas, symbolically channeling energy upward, aligning the earthly with the cosmic. Dravidian temples created cooling microclimates in the tropical south. Nagara temples of the north managed monsoon flows with elevated platforms. Vesara temples of the Deccan blended both styles for semi-arid climates. Each was an ecological response to geography. Perhaps nowhere is conservation more visible than in temple water systems. Pushkarinis and step wells collected rainwater, purified it, and recharged the earth. Their overflow irrigated fields and groves. Water used in rituals was returned to soil. These weren't just utilities, they were sacred duties. Rock-cut marvels like Konark even demonstrate this water wisdom carved into architecture itself. Beyond stone, the forest itself was a temple. Every village preserved sacred groves, dedicated to local deities and protected by community faith. Here, no hunting, no felling, no pollution was allowed. Medicinal plants, bees, birds, and snakes thrived undisturbed. Even today, sacred groves in Karnataka and Kerala preserve biodiversity older than many modern reserves. This ecological harmony lasted centuries, until colonial disruption. The British Forest Acts seized groves as crown property. Logging began. Tanks dried and courtyards shrank under concrete. Forests became timber, rivers became canals, cows became meat. Conservation without consciousness replaced sacred ecology. The loss was not just environmental, it was civilizational. Yet all is not lost. Many temples still hold these systems. South Indian temples are reviving tanks through desilting. Brihadiswara's granite still regulates heat. Vrindavan's Govind Dev temple drains rain naturally. Somnath's reconstruction restored water harvesting. Communities are reviving sacred groves. Scholars are reinterpreting Vastu principles for eco-homes. And temple ecology is inspiring modern sustainable design. Temples remind us that conservation is not a policy, but a way of being. They are living mandalas of harmony between stone and sky, human and tree, self and cosmos. This is not nostalgia, it is a roadmap, etched in tradition, still alive beneath the cement. That's Hindu temple architecture. And that's the conservation the world needs now. Like and share the video and subscribe to the channel if its contents are found useful, and read more at hinduinfopedia.com.